Right, on Street Talk. I thought it was an alright week in Coronation Street. You gave it 3 bang-ins on our short this week, Gemma, so I hope you're ready to be all effervescent and full of praise with the pre-Christmas week Coronation Street.
You know me.
A woman of few words this evening, it seems. Mm-hmm. Well, hopefully your mind's going to be rekindled. I don't know what the word is. You're going to have to help me out with this. I thought it was an alright week. I think I gave it a bog standard and 2 bang-ins, although the bang-ins were both just into there, but it was fine. And like I said earlier today, that I was actually invested in the Ed story for possibly the first time today, so they must be doing something right. I wanted to start off with the Ryan and Cheating story, just to get him out of the way, because he's disappeared off to Glasgow, so I want to just get all that out of the way first. But then we've got the big one of the week, the Rovers return. Yeah, the return of the Rovers. The Rovers return.
I get it.
You get it. Gemma gets it. Peter out is the next question. Is Peter going to be petering out? It certainly seems that way. But how's he going to go? And will Carla be able to stop him? And is she buying a boat? Which is what you think that may be the big surprise at the end of today's episode is.
She already did it once. Why not twice?
Good point. Oh, yeah, she did buy him a boat.
It's the thing you buy your boyfriend when you don't really know what he wants.
Yeah.
I mean, your husband. You're like, I don't know what he wants, I'll buy him a boat.
Boat, I'm rich.
This is why when people say it's about working class northerners, I laugh. If you don't buy someone a boat...
You don't.
If you don't have much money.
We had the Ed Gamble story up next, and then we've got...
You know who that is now?
I do, yeah. You were watching an Ed Gamble programme the other day.
I watched him do Drunk History, The Great Escape. It's hilarious.
Which was?
What do you mean?
Well, for anyone who doesn't know, I know what it was.
What?
What was, for our lovely listeners?
Everyone knows what Drunk History is.
No, they don't.
Yes, they do.
I didn't know before.
You get comedians, you get them drunk and you ask them to repeat historical stories.
I think we need to get you drunk on the podcast sometime. And then you can just say what happened in Coronation Street.
Who's to say that doesn't happen every week?
What's in that glass you got there? Is that just Coke?
That is actually rum and Coke.
We've got the number 9 stuff. We've got the Salon Up story with Audrey and David.
You've written the K9
Maria.
and number 9, yeah?
Yeah, there wasn't actually a dog anywhere.
Salon Up.
They've kind of drawn blanks
Not
there.
really Salon Up.
And then I just couldn't. Then there was a bit of Gemma and Joseph and Paul and who else was there? Chesney. So I've called it Mrs. Winter Brown's Boys because
Everyone
it is Christmas
that.
after all.
Everyone loves that show.
So that I can take the meaty story and do the Rovers return story, Gemma, would you like to synopsise?
Why do you want to do that?
Well, because I thought that you didn't seem to be in much of a talkative mood today.
Doesn't mean I can't read out what you've written. Unless you saying you've written it wrong.
No, I've perfect, as always, in my notes. Ryan, Gemma, I know you're deeply gutted that he's no longer a member of the Coronation Street character.
I don't think he's really gone.
He's not
stupid.
gone at all, has he?
Right, so he's gone off with Meatface, hasn't he? Meat. On Monday.
Although they didn't actually feature her in Wednesday's episode, did they?
But he would notice. On Monday, Debbie and Ronnie bump into Crystal in the cafe and she goes, me. And they're like, what's that? You're going to Glasgow tomorrow? Me. Thanks, Crystal. Debbie confronts Ryan in his flat. What's all this about him going up to Glasgow at the drop of a hat? And he says, look, I'm a Coronation Street character. It's what I do.
If we all will go places at the drop of a hat.
One day, Debbie, you will leave the show and we desperately hope you won't die so you can come back. So you probably will go off in a taxi somewhere. Yeah. And you'll probably decide the episode before, if not that episode.
Do you think that they would try making it so that she had all her worldly belongings in one box? Because I cannot believe that Debbie's wardrobe would fit in one little luggage. Sorry.
I would absolutely adore it.
You'd need one luggage just to hold the earrings.
If just in tribute to Debbie's materialism. Because we all know that that's what she's like. They had her drive off in a taxi, followed by 2 moving vans. Just to
yeah, they
just
should.
to show.
They totally should.
That it's possible that somebody might have more than one thing.
Do you think that she I want to see her Christmas tree. Do you think she dangles all her earrings on a Christmas tree at this time?
I bet her Christmas tree is made of feathers.
Oh,
you know those. You know what I mean? Like a great big 7-foot Christmas tree made of various sorts of pheasant and flamingo and really elaborate ostrich feathers. And
this is why we never see where she lives
because they don't have the budget.
I want that to be Coronation Street's New Year's resolution for 2024. Never mind all the predictions that we made in our prediction show this week. Let's have Debbie's palace.
Let's show her set. We want you to blow the budget.
We want opulence.
One set. 2024, Debbie's flat.
Yeah.
Thanks very much. So, Ryan's like, no, listen, me and Chris have got something special, actually. It's all going to be fine. But he doesn't sound very convincing. And he insists he needs a fresh start and he's going to Glasgow because that's where you go. He's not going south. As everyone does that. He's going north.
They did mention, somebody mentioned this week that he went to university in Glasgow, which I think I saw somebody online complaining about recently.
That he's been in Glasgow before?
No, I don't know whether we did. I remember seeing someone online saying that he was at
definitely
uni
been
in Glasgow, but
they remembered.
Maybe he's only just remembered.
They remembered. They know. Look, they do know these things, but it's not always.
They've got very good archivists.
There's not always a chance to mention it.
No.
And even if the archivist says something, they're not always like, yes, it's really important to insert this.
It can be a bit exposition-y, can't it?
Yeah,
So, you know me, and now I went to university in Glasgow, Carla. Well, just by perfect coincidence, that's where old Crystal
I don't know how often you really
there.
say that to people. Like, when we watch Songs of Praise on Christmas Day, I don't go to you. Your mum was in Songs of Praise.
It goes without saying.
It does somewhat, doesn't it? So, he's going to be fine. Daisy comes into the bistro looking for him, and Nick tells her he's handed his notice in. And in the evening, there's another standoff between Ryan and Daniel in the bistro, and Daniel's making a snide remark about people with a clear conscience not needing to run away. But Debbie tells Ryan he deserves a bit of happiness, and it doesn't really matter if Crystal's there or not, because who would be able to tell?
As it turns out, she's not there on Wednesday.
No, well, she's gone up ahead of him. And so on Wednesday, it's this moving day, and Peter makes Simon and Ryan shake hands. This was kind of sweet. He's like, make up, lads, because one of you might have a different head next time you see each other. Because obviously they've got bad blood, haven't they?
Well, what with the old filming
thing, and the fact that Simon blames Ryan for breaking up Daniel and Daisy, and he's really close to Daniel, not so close to Ryan. They kind of sort of don't really, but also don't not. So Peter's satisfied with that because he's
done his parenting now, hasn't he?
Exactly. Job done. Hang up your flat cap. Ryan gets hugs as he gets in a taxi. He leaves the street, but on the way he sees Daisy coming out the shop and he gives her a little nod.
Yeah.
And it's just like in a Disney film
Ta-ra.
where the prince is sort of nodding at the peasants.
Yeah, no, he's not gone, has he?
I don't think he's gone. Everyone keeps saying Ryan's left him. I'm like, no, he hasn't. He's gone to Glasgow. He'll be back really quick.
I think some people are taking some of the headlines that have been plastered across the soap websites a little bit too seriously. A long-term Coronation Street resident decides to call it a day.
He'll be back as soon as Crystal tries to tell him how the washing machine works, and her instructions are me. He'll come back and be like, Carla, I don't know. You've got to do this because Crystal won't, and she told me meet, and I don't know which button that is.
It was very peculiar how they didn't bother having her in that final episode. It was kind of directed and played out as a leaving episode, wasn't it? As a cheap old back of the taxi Weatherfield exit.
Wouldn't you like to have seen Crystal once? I don't even know. Did she do this? She's so forgettable. Gone to Daisy and gone, look, I've won, you've lost, he's mine, get over it. Rebuild your life with Daniel or don't. I don't care. All I care about is me and Ryan. We're leaving this place behind and I never want to see you again.
I don't remember.
Just stand up for yourself. You're so boring.
Maybe she was in Wednesday's episode and it's just been blanked out of our memories. But I think that...
She's the human equivalent of Will Smith's device in Men in Black that makes your memory disappear.
Unfortunately, Ryan hasn't got much for a brain in there, has he?
Back.
So it's
He'll
not
be back
New
Year's Eve, probably.
Do you reckon? You
reckon
reckon before
party,
the year's end?
Everyone will be like, yay, new leaf. And he'll be like, yeah, 2024, not Glasgow for me. It's quite nippy.
I don't reckon we're going to see him again in 2023, but I'd be very surprised if we got to the end of January and he wasn't back in the cobbles, wheedling his way back into Daisy's life and trying to get back into her bed as well. I mean, the big giveaway is always... there's never a social media post, and I'm sorry if that's a spoiler or whatever, but it's the way things are at the moment, isn't it? If it's an actor's final episode on Coronation Street,
they're not going to fake out to pretend it's not there at final episode, are they?
No.
So,
and if they were to try and pull the wool over our eyes and say, well, that's it, there goes Ryan, hope you enjoyed him, and then when he came back, people wouldn't be like, oh, all right, they'd be just like, oh, that's okay. I think people like Ryan, but he's And he's obviously been a very popular character this year because of the story he's been in. But I think generally people are just a little bit nonplussed about whether he's gone or not, and were just left scratching their heads a little bit. But
bit of a fail, right?
little
Tell me
bit
what
of a
happened
fail. I was,
in the pub.
I just thought that, you know, considering that this was the big story last week, there wasn't so much of it to deal with this week, and very little Daniel, unfortunately.
Pub time.
You're hurrying me on, are you? Okay,
Well, no,
fine.
it's time for the pub. Tell me
All
what
right.
happened.
Well, but what happened in the pub was this. So this was all quite exciting, and this. If Ryan's bizarre non-departure didn't kick up much of a kerfuffle online, well, Jenny and Daisy's antics on Wednesday certainly did. But
I loved it.
I'm kind of going back and forth a little bit about it, about whether I love it or whether I think it's going to, fall flat on its face. But
This is one of these things where I turn into a complete hypocrite because when people were complaining on Wednesday about what Jenny and Daisy did, I was like, it's not real, get over it. But I obviously have different opinions depending on how serious the storyline is. But I think this is just falls under the category for me of it's just a bit of fun.
this is this is definitely the non-issues story of the
This is
of the Christmas
blessed
time.
relief from issues-based storylines. There's
Yeah.
nobody. I mean, there are people saying this, but I know. No, we don't need to worry about bank transfers and money laundering. Like, forget it. It's not real. This is fictional. Just leave that behind. Let's live in a fantasy world where you can just steal money from a dead man and buy a pub with it. If not, what's the point of Christmas magic if that can't happen?
Somebody needs to tell Ed. It seems like a pretty easy job, really. He's going to be kicking himself when he realises he didn't pull Stephen's diary out of the bin. He was so
Anyone
close.
could have had that
It's
out of the bin.
Just out over the road. It just
It's
so
his own
happens
fault.
that Daisy was the one sitting there as Audrey was throwing it away. I mean, what are the chances
for
of
her.
that, eh? So anyway, Monday then. Jenny is still determined to find this journal that Audrey's got because she reckons it's got Stephen's password in. But meanwhile, Gail is over at number 8 having a read of it herself. The rest of the family are all getting together because last week we were teased with this grand plan, didn't we, of how we're going to have a lovely afternoon with Audrey. And
It fell a bit flat, really.
it did. I mean, and partly...
I sort of forgot there was a grand plan.
Partly it fell flat because Audrey, yet again, was a bit of a downer, wasn't she? She just threw a bucket of cold water over the whole thing. And we were fairly supportive of her after the whole Stephen gets hit by Peter incident. But I'm finding it harder and harder to forgive Audrey for being a massive grouchy Grinch, aren't you?
Yeah.
Like, what's her problem?
Her son died.
Oh, yeah. And she's old. Oh, well. So
It's a double whammy.
David is fairly sceptical that they're going to be able to make up at lunchtime because the family are just always at each other's throats. But Lily suggests that they get a nice box and put some nice notes about each other in
Right.
them. And I hope somebody had one of those at the children's carol concert this week that Lily was singing rather awkwardly in. Because there weren't going to be any compliments flowing naturally, I'll tell you that.
So what was the grand plan then?
Have a meal together and just
Right, so they
get
didn't
on.
even, like, Lily just had to come up with this. Like, the main plot point of the grand plan was just ad-libbed by a child
Yeah,
at the last minute.
yeah.
Nobody else put any thought into it beyond, we'll have a free meal at the bistro.
Yeah, hopefully we'll get Audrey to pay.
We'll get Leanne to just say that a ninja came and stole all the steaks.
So they all go along to the bistro with a nice box in the middle of the table. The idea behind which is that you just write nice comments to each other and then
This
pull
kind
them
of
out.
reminds me of Hook when I had the boo box.
Yeah, it's like the anti-boo box, isn't
Yeah.
it?
It's a woo box.
So this is quite a nice tactic to use at school. So as we've got,
Do you do this?
There's one. All classes at my school have got a box that we can put nice things in, or if somebody wants to tell the teacher about something that they, then they can put it in
box.
there. It's not a grass box, but there is one particular class in the school who's got like a confetti box, and it's always been filled up with nice little confetti with just nice things about each other on, and then the teacher reads it out, and it's very, very lovely.
This in no way prepares you for the real world.
It's not, but it's nice to enjoy the naivety of childhood while you still can, I suppose.
I guess fairies are real.
So they're having their nice box. Gail is getting fed up of all the bickering already and says, right, let's write some nice things down.
Everyone write something nice.
Write something nice about everybody, especially me, your mum.
What would you write about me?
Nice cooking.
Oh, great.
Makes me laugh.
Nice cooking.
You do nice cooking.
Nice.
Am I allowed to? It's a nice box. It's not an outstanding box. If it was, I'd say you did outstanding cooking.
I should hope so.
You're the best darn cook I know. Thank you very much.
Cook?
Chef. What would you say in the nice box about me?
I'd say nice compliments.
Still powers on through a podcast despite the fact that he's still got a bloody cough and his voice...
only mentions he's got a cold like, 5 times?
Oh, sorry, missus. I had my appendix out, don't you know?
Yeah. Record an hour-long podcast about it. And see what
When's my cough going to go away?
Right, so they write nice things down.
Yes, and then we cut to the Jenny bit. So she's there with Audrey and Carla. They're like, cabin, listen, maybe? I can't remember what this is.
Doesn't Jenny say, we need a password for this? There's a password.
Yeah, Jenny says, I found a folder or a file, one or the other, in the laptop, and can we have Stephen's journal, please, so that I can have a root through it? And Audrey says, well, there's some very personal things in there, actually, and maybe I don't want everyone reading them, which is, I don't know whether that was just a bit of a... was it,
No, I think that's right, because she already found one secret blew up in her face.
I suppose so, she did.
Who knows what else he wrote in there? There's so many weird cryptic, like all those cryptic things that David read out. They could mean anything. You don't even know. Also,
I wonder if there was anything horrible about Jenny in there.
My question is, where's Gabrielle? Is she dead? Alive? What? Why didn't they kill her off in Elaine?
Yeah, Gabrielle's not had...
I'm still bitter about this.
Maybe Gabrielle is going to buy the Rovers. Everyone, I'm just wondering, are they going to buy the Rovers now?
I'm sorry, neither woman is in the show anymore. There's no reason to keep them alive.
Gabrielle and Elaine, spin-off special, 2024 is going to happen.
Gabbers and LL.
Yeah.
What do they get up to? They just sit and eat biscuits.
One of them... I don't know, I can't even say what Gabrielle... One of them witters on incessantly.
One of them
and the other...
says, these biscuits aren't as good as in Canada. And the other one says, well, let's go there then.
Well, there we go.
And then they just don't. Because they never do anything.
Anyway, Jenny can't get her hands on this journal because of all the...
Secrets.
Not fraudulent.
Secrets.
Scandalous. What's it called when you lie about somebody?
Slander.
Slanderous details that are inside, thank you.
Libel.
Yeah. So, Daisy goes to see Jenny later.
Oh no, Carla slags Stephen off a bit too much in front of Audrey. And
yeah, she does, doesn't she? Daisy goes to see Jenny later and says, what? You don't worry about this. Jenny's still saying, we can't take the money. We're going to get it. We're going to give it to Carla.
They don't have the money though.
No, they don't. But Daisy said, even if you did... you're owed some compensation for what Stephen did. He had a bottle to your neck and everything on Super Soap Week. That's big stuff. That's high stakes drama.
Even if you found
Jenny
the money,
says no.
I give it back to Carla.
Need to put that in Carla's knickers. Thank you very much.
Tuck it in her knickers.
Daisy
Don't ask
said,
me how I know that's a thing.
What about the Rovers, eh? And Jenny shuts her down with the idea. So Daniel bumps into Daisy in the street later, not interested in talking to her. Then she says, well, me and Jenny are going to open the pub, actually. So there, and we've already got the money. He doesn't believe her with this. So Audrey now.
Daniel's just annoyed because Ryan's going to Glasgow and he didn't do a project on Glasgow.
Very true.
He could lord it over both of them. He said, oh, I know the history of Glasgow because I did a project on it at school. But he doesn't know, so he's just annoyed that he picked the wrong
Maybe next time he does a project on Glasgow, we can have like Ryan as his foreign correspondent on there. And anyway, Audrey's at the bistro now, and she's reading all the nice comments, which typically, as for the Platts, are full of snark. Yeah, winding Audrey up even more.
It's really brave of you to have that haircut.
Did you... I know I'd kind of forgotten that this scene had taken place, but did you enjoy the
iconic.
nice box? It wasn't iconic.
It could have been iconic and it wasn't, but then the Platts are always hilarious, so it's really difficult to do a truly outstanding Platt family scene.
It wasn't a bad scene.
No, it wasn't.
Just felt
wasn't memorable. I don't remember anything they said.
Well, no, that's the thing. Like, they were all kind of just digging the boot in a little bit, weren't they? But no, I can't remember anything that was in there at all. Didn't David call Sarah Lou a princess?
It wasn't as good as calling David a weasel face and doing a peach Bellini.
It completely did the job of what it needed to do, that scene.
Yeah, it was great. It was fine. It wasn't...
It's not going down in the Platt family history books.
I don't think it's a clip show scene.
I don't think so.
Not every scene can be a clip show scene.
No, very true. So Daisy, meanwhile, goes back to the bistro looking for Ryan, because he's not left at this point, and she spies David's jacket hanging on the coat hook. And he's not the only person that wears a denim jacket in Coronation Street, unbelievably, but Ed's the other one, and he can't afford to go to the bistro.
Shona.
Yeah, that's true.
There are other characters I can think of that wear it too, but I can't say their names.
Why not?
I can't say it.
Oh, that character. Yeah, you're not allowed to mention that person yet. Maybe it's just a hangover from Mike Baldwin's denim factory, and it's just infiltrated the brains of the Weatherfield.
Charity shop
they
just full of 30 years of back stock from Western Front.
Yeah, and they haven't been told that the rest of the world has moved on from denim.
And the ghost of Mike Baldwin's going, never goes out of fashion.
Maybe those ones that Shona wears, those ripped jeans,
they are just mothing back stock from Western Front. Get her one day and be like, all right, I think I sold those jeans once to Emily Bishop and she took them back.
So anyway, Daisy's got David's keys so that she can let herself into number 8. Ooh, the sneaky sneak.
What will happen?
So, more nice box reading in the bistro leads to more bickering.
Well, Sam does a lovely speech.
I think his was maybe the most memorable bit about it. But again, it was very kind of typical. Sam's going to be a little angel and the one that brings the feuding family together. What sweet, innocent, childlike thing is he going to say?
Not a biblically
and he said it.
Accurate angel.
No.
With revolving wheels of fire and eyes.
No, not like
floating
that one
in
that
the
you
sky.
put on my WhatsApp earlier. Anyway, so he says he's very disappointed in them. So pull yourselves together, family. Let's make up. Let's just say our nice things out loud to each other. And he starts by doing a very sweet speech saying, "You're all brilliant. You're great, David.
Everyone's crying.
Sarah Lou, you're so pretty. Everyone's very sad. Well, no, it's all happy sad. Yeah, and it's all It was kind of nice. But
I'd be touched if a bright child gave me a compliment.
He's clever, he is, and he's saying I'm nice. He
Nobody
knows his
gives
stuff.
me compliments.
I did
cry.
earlier. I said
I asked
you
for
were an
it.
adequate
It doesn't.
cook.
He said I was nice. I want compliments. Send me. We've got a nice box. It's conversationstreet@gmail.com. Please feel free to stuff it full of compliments.
Just for Christmas.
Just
Go
for
on.
Crimbo.
So the compliments start flowing more and more freely. David, I kind of enjoyed him as well. He's really squirming because he's been put on the spot.
It doesn't
about
come
saying
naturally. I
something
think
nice to Sarah Louise.
In this country, we don't take naturally to compliments.
No, I think that the Platts attitude of just being backhanded to each other and sarky is the
Normal.
Is the norm for.
It really is normal. This is what we're
Brits.
like. Yeah, we don't. Even our friends, even people we choose as our family, we don't say nice things.
No,
it just comes off awkward.
It comes across as just a little bit American to tell everybody how lovely they are.
Is this why we haven't made? Is this why Katy Perry's not English? She never could have succeeded with her cupcake boobs in this country. Could have torn her to pieces.
The best David could say, and it was kind of sweet because, you know, he really had to say it through gritted teeth, was that he's glad that she's his sister and he wouldn't change her for anything, well, except maybe a Porsche.
You got to add that in as a joke, just to prove that you're not serious.
It was kind of nice.
But then Audrey ruins it.
Yeah, then Audrey's like, well, I can't say anything nice about you, and bogs off. Sorry, what is your problem, Audrey? You got to stick at your bum. Come on. You said her son's dead, but it's wearing thin. That could have been the moment when they could have made up, and I know it did come later on, but that was unnecessary.
Yeah, I didn't like this.
The whole point of it was just to add a little bit of drama to Daisy's house infiltration, because she's looking all over the place for this journal, isn't she? And then Audrey, fresh from storming off from the bistro, comes up into number 8 and Daisy has to hide at the top of the stairs for a little bit while Audrey pulls the journal out from the sofa, and Daisy's like, of course, why didn't I look there? But anyway, Audrey's got the diary and off she goes. Daisy hides away. No, she escapes through the back door, doesn't she? Which Jenny, who happens to be there, clocks and says, what's going on? Have you been snooping about in the Platt's house? And she says, yeah, I was looking for the journal. And Jenny says, look, you're lucky you didn't get caught. And how many times do I have to tell you, this money is Carla's, not ours. Just drop it. Oh, how she changes her tune within 48 hours. So,
well, it's even more than that, because Friday's episode was apparently Christmas Eve.
Oh, yes, it was, wasn't it? Yeah, well...
Well, it's before then, actually. It was Wednesday, yeah.
So, Daisy is on Maxine's bench later when Audrey comes past. Been to the charity shop. She's been getting rid of some of Stephen's clothes, but they don't want tatty old journals.
Stephen got a lot of his clothes from that charity shop.
Yeah, they didn't.
It's a circle of life.
That charity shop's been doing well this week, hasn't it? A load of Stephen's stuff on Monday, a load of Ed's presents on Friday.
I think they took that to the... I don't think they took it to the charity shop, darling. You don't get money for...
Oh, yeah, it was the pawn shop, wasn't it?
Shop,
yeah, just next door. You're right. Anyway.
I think everybody in Weatherfield goes in the pawn shop first. And they're like, no, mate, charity shop's next door.
So, it was just very, very contrived having Audrey throwing away the diary that they'd been trying to get right by Daisy, wasn't it?
Well, it kind of is done because
Come on.
Audrey surely remembers Daisy being present when Jenny was asking for this diary, like, not that long ago, and she throws it away in her presence.
Yeah, why didn't you just give it to her?
Why don't you just keep it?
I don't know. It was just a very handy...
It was a bit...
contrivance so that the plot could progress in the way that they wanted it to. I'm sure there could have been a smarter way, but I'm not a smarter person, so I can't suggest one myself.
Yeah, we're not that.
So anyway,
we're not ones to say
Daisy's
that we
got
do
the
better
diary, and Audrey goes home, sees the rest of the family there, and says, "Oh, we're all a family, and fighting's being a part of it, I suppose. I've been reading Stephen's journal, and it made me realise that he was never really part of the family, so screw him, let's hug."
Weird. What a weird... Okay.
Strange conclusion to this Stephen story. Yeah, really weird. Really, it didn't sit right with me. That didn't. But at least they got their nice hug at the end. Platts are pretty much
just over
with now, so forget about that. Let's get onto this. Let's get onto this Rovers business. So Daisy pretends to Jenny that her laptop's on the blink, so can she borrow Stephen's? And Jenny's like, oh yeah, sure, because she doesn't suspect that Daisy's got this diary.
Yeah, sure, I've cleaned out...
Daisy looks very sneaky.
I've cleaned out Safari and Firefox, so you don't need to worry about pressing
got
P
rid of Jenny's saucy
and
pics.
finding any...
So
dodgy websites.
we get a classic Corrie password guessing scene at the end of Monday's episode.
This was great. This was just heaven. This is Coronation Street, just going, you know what? It's Christmas. We're not going to tax your brain. She's trying to guess the password. She's got one more guess. She's going to look at a picture and she's going to see what it is.
What was the... No, she had two guesses, didn't she?
She had
a second to last guess. What did she say?
Happiness.
No, I thought she said... No, I thought that the clue to what the password
the clue was happiness.
My happiest place or something.
No, it was happiness.
Oh, was it? Okay. And then she put something like postcard in or holiday or something completely generic as a penultimate guess. And then...
it literally, the only word on the whole postcard was Tofino. Is that how you say it?
Yeah.
I've got no idea where this place was.
Canadian place names are pronounced exactly the way they're spelled, Gemma. We've learned this over the year.
I thought this was in Italy.
Oh, was it? I suppose it doesn't
place
sound like Canadian, does it? Well, what do I know? No, that does make complete sense.
The beautiful Canadian islands of Tofino.
It's just...
Yeah, we know.
I know that you had to get
It is in Canada, you're right.
Hey, there we go.
You did it. What's so special about Tofino? Rugged west coast of Vancouver Island, nothing short of stunning. Long sandy beaches and open Pacific Ocean.
Well,
I want to go. Also says, why is Tofino called Tough City?
I don't know.
I'm getting conflicting information.
Well,
I want to go there now. They've got an ocean village.
She guessed the password, hooray, and now she's got access to Stephen's Cayman Island
I would have bet
account.
£100 that Tofino was in Italy. Whew, good job I didn't do that.
Wednesday, Daisy's looking at the road.
It doesn't sound Canadian. Italian.
I know
sounds
it doesn't.
Italian.
It sounds Italian. I know. Daisy's, it's like Toronto to Fino.
It is, exactly.
You know they call Toronto Toronto. What do they call Tofino?
Toffino.
Yeah. So, Daisy wants to keep these Rovers plans quiet because Rita's almost having a look at her laptop on Wednesday morning. And
knows the old bag.
And she is. And so Daisy didn't want her involved, so she's going to tell Daisy later. Jenny and Carla see some people...
hang on.
Well, she's going to tell Jenny later.
Yeah.
Jenny and Carla see some people coming out the Rovers later, shaking hands, and Jenny's like, "Oh, maybe they're the people that are buying the Rovers." And Jenny says to Carla, "Can I
borrow some money?
Can I have a bit of money, please?" No. Jenny says Carla's got a bit of a grump on, says no way. Then it turns into an argument between them. And with Carla saying, "Look, Jenny, you only want to be part of our family when there's money involved. Stephen, your fellow, is the one who's in charge of responsible for this whole mess anyway. And here you go. Who do you think you are trying to ask me for a handout? No, thank you, missus."
Make your mind up.
Daisy
Whose fault
wades
is
into
it?
the argument.
Stephen or Michael's?
I don't know. Daisy wades into the argument, and Carla calls her a silly little girl before stropping off. So, I suppose that set Jenny on the path. This was
Corrie 101 for establishing a motivation for Jenny to later not give two hoots about what Carla thinks.
Yeah, but I thought that by the time Jenny made the decision to pinch the money, Carla had apologised. It didn't really fit for me. But anyway, Daisy later reveals, because Jenny finds the journal, that she has indeed been accessing the account, and Jenny says, "Well done to you, but like I've been keeping on saying, and I will keep on saying until I have an unexplained change of mind, this is Carla's money. You cannot have it." But Daisy's like, "Well, I'll show you," and transfers herself £50 over to the account, which she uses to buy a lovely bottle of bubbly from the bistro, and sits Jenny down with a glass later and says,
Let's keep this money.
Let's keep the money.
I love her reasoning for this. She's like, "Jenny, we're in the clear here. I transferred 50 quid and nobody's arrested me yet."
The SWAT teams didn't come in, says Jenny.
Daisy, the wheels of justice in Weatherfield turn slowly. Even if they had any inkling you'd taken this money, it'd take until March to work it out.
Yeah, Jenny says, "This is utter madness. We have got to tell Carla about this." And I'm going to go and tell her right now. So Daisy chases her off to the factory. But fortunately for her, Carla's not there, because she just so happens to be in a business meeting where she's going to be completely stable financial ground after a massive deal that she's just made. I wish that I could somehow make £250,000 when I'd lost it. Very convenient and helpful.
No, she goes to be with Peter when he meets up with his organ donor, and Sarah's the one that saves the factory.
Oh, is she?
Yeah, okay. Sarah says to them, "Hurrah! All our woes are behind us. If only we'd thought of selling clothes for cheaper than we make them." Never occurred to me before. We've been losing money hand over fist.
I just don't get how, on the one hand, you've got Ed, who desperately needs to get money.
That's business, baby.
And he can't, although he does, and then he gambles it away. And then you got Carla like, "Oh, the factory's in danger of going under. What on earth will we do? Oh, look, here's somebody giving us £250,000.
Nobody said it was £250,000. They said they were back on track. They said they were back on track. You're putting words in their mouth there. That's not really fair.
I should be in business if it's as easy as they're making it out to be on this. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, Daisy's eyes light up to hear that Carla's going to be in the black again soon, because it makes her feel less guilty about stealing from her.
Oversold this a little bit, because the purpose of what Sarah said was to make Jenny and Daisy feel like they didn't have to give the money back because they didn't need it at the factory to save everyone's jobs. But the idea that a business could win a contract that would stop them from going under is not that far-fetched.
No, it's not that far.
You're filling in blanks that didn't exist.
Oh, well, whatever. I mean, this was still a good episode on the whole. I just thought that there were a few kind of quick ways to tie up problems, I suppose. But anyway, Daisy goes back to the flat with Jenny and says, well, you know, it was fate that Carla wasn't there. Isn't it good that Carla's financial worries are behind her? We'll pay her back over time anyway. And Jenny says, I cannot believe who you've become. You're such a scheming cowbag, Daisy. And Daisy says, yeah, I am actually. Don't you remember? And so are you. This is exactly what you're like, Jenny Bradley. You need to think of the community. People want somewhere to drink. They're in the bistro. Let's get the Rovers. I'll say it one more time. And Jenny says, well, you have a good case there, missus. I will have a think about it. So Jenny is walking past the pub with Rita later, who is off to see Mavis in Cartmel for Christmas. And Rita says, whoever takes over that pub has got big shoes to fill. You are one of the best landladies there's ever been, I tell you. So as Rita
And
walks,
I've seen all of them.
I've seen them all ever since Annie Walker.
All 5 of them.
And then this is when
I
Carla...
can't remember how many there've been.
Many more than that. Then Carla pops along and says to Jenny, oh, Sarah says you wanted to tell me something. And Jenny's like...
Let me have a think during the break.
Just wanted to say sorry, really.
Have you heard of a dinosaur called... What's his name?
What?
The dinosaur, the Argos one.
Trevor?
Have you heard of a funny dinosaur called Trevor? I'm just going to hallucinate about him for about 3 minutes.
She stares at the bus shelter, does she?
She's going, I'm just imagining a dinosaur that talks like this and really enjoys material things. He orders from a catalogue. Oh, it's a beautiful imagination.
Anyway, back to the present. I just wanted to say sorry for being horrible to you about Aidan earlier. I can't remember what she said. She used his name in vain. Anyway, Carla's like, yeah, well, we're cool now anyway. I'm going to be rolling in it soon. And just so that we're clear, if you'd have wanted the money, of course I would have given it to you. I was just being a cow earlier.
Here's more establishing reasons for you to think it's totally fine to steal this money.
From me. So later in the flat, again, Daisy finds Jenny downing a bottle of bubbly, and Jenny says, right, I'm in on it. We're going to take the money. We're going to say it's a bank loan. We're going to pay Carla back as soon as we can, just in dribs and drabs. And Daisy says, well, I'm going to have my name as the co-owner, please, because I'm in on this evil scheme with you. And but I understand if we can't make it public because people will want to know why. And they have an excited hug, and there's the Rovers' future locked in.
She says,
Jenny and Daisy.
Can we just lay the ground rules here for future conflict between the two of us, whereby
Yes.
I say I'm really the reason why we have the Rovers, but you are the name on the front of it. And even though there's so much conflict that could be had here, we're not going to think about what would happen with these two very strong-willed women, with one of them having to take a back seat.
So the next episode, they're already, even though I thought that they were going to keep it quiet about Daisy being co-owner, they're already blabbing it off to Brian and Mary in the cabin, and they've got a meeting with the estate agent later.
Please never tell. Look,
what?
This drives me mad. We've gone through so much heartache buying houses, and on Coronation Street, you just say you've bought a house like the week before you're going to get it, and you get it. It just drives me nuts. I know,
really like that,
I know that they have to take liberties, but it's just so sickening. It should be like it is on Corrie, where you go, I've got money. There's somewhere I want to buy. Can I buy it? Yes, you can. Cool. Here's the money. Great, thanks. Here's the place. Great, thanks. No need for all 6 months of drawn out, ridiculous back and forth, stupid people that work in a solicitor's office that don't seem to know how to spell your name properly. All should be rounded up and shot in a pit.
Well, it's not as easy as they first think. Let's just put it
Good.
that way.
Everyone should suffer like I have.
We also had a little scene where...
Not bitter, though.
Where Carla sees Jenny in the cafe later and is happy that she's going to go back to working in the pub, and Jenny's looking mightily guilty when she has to lie to Carla about where the money's coming
She
from.
said it was a different bank. She's like, who'd have thought there's more than one bank? I thought it was just one, it was called The Bank.
And anyway, she gets a phone call from the estate agent later, and there's somebody else that's interested in the Rovers apparently, so they're doing the old sealed bids thing, so it doesn't seem like it's going to be quite as easy as she first thought.
But will it? Houses, stupid.
So, are we currently on Jenny's side in this, or not so much?
Listen, I've abandoned all pretense of real world. It's so funny how much room there is in this show for really, really sad and tragic realities of life and just stupid nonsense like this. Like, this is just, forget it. It's all fine. It's not real. Anything can happen. It's fiction. Yeah, I mean, something's going to happen. It's not going to be what would really happen in real life, because if you're going to buy somewhere, they have to check you're not doing money laundering or fraudulent transfers or stealing things from dead men.
Yeah, you kind of have to say where your money came from, don't
They're
you?
gonna
Isn't
have
that
to-
a special form you have to fill?
Yeah,
Where'd you
we
get
do.
your money
We
from?
had to do this. We had to send proof where we got this money from. So how are they going to get away with this? I don't really care. I'm not interested in that. I'd rather not have everything.
But do you think that they will get caught? Is Jenny just being
Well, we had a
ridiculously short-sighted with this?
If you listen to our AI prediction episodes, we do talk about this very briefly, because we do a prediction. The AI comes up with what they think is going to happen. But I think that oh no, it was in a shorts, wasn't it? It was in a YouTube shorts.
Yeah.
I said this. I just think that Carla's going to find out what they've done, and that's going to be the only consequence. And she'll just say, "Well, as long as you pay me back, I don't care." I don't think the police are going to get involved because that would complicate things. We want Jenny. What we need to think about, what do we want this to end up with, right? We want this to end up with Jenny and Daisy staying in the Rovers.
That's basically it.
The writers are going to say, whatever we need to do to get to that, we're going to do it. So the police don't care. They've already told everybody, we investigated this, we couldn't do anything about it. There's no way we haven't got the time. Forget it. The money's gone. The only person who cares, therefore, is Carla, because that's her money. Now, if Jenny and Daisy manage to convince her that they are going to pay the money back, Carla, she's not going to be worried about the money, is she? Next year, she's not going to be worried about the money. She's going to have other things to worry about, and she's also got money coming in from the factory. So she's not going to be focused on trying to get revenge from Daisy and Jenny. So if she finds out, I'm sure she'll just say, whatever, give me the money back.
I think that she's going to find out and be really mad for a few episodes.
Yeah, exactly.
And then either Jenny will do something lovely to save her life, I don't know, and then Carla will say, oh, well, you know what, maybe I won't send you down the cop shop after all, or something.
Someone will just beg on their knees and say, look, we'll give you the money back. What's the problem? You wouldn't have got it back if we hadn't... Look, the money was gone, literally. Audrey threw the journal away. You were not going to get this back. No way were you going to get this money back. It was gone forever. We got it. We've used it for this. We're going to pay you back. We said this before we even got caught. We were going to give you the money back.
It did feel odd how quickly Jenny changed her mind from... Because she was saying it ad nauseum, Carla needs this money. This is Underworld's money.
Yeah, but
this belongs to the factory.
Basically, Carla came up and said, oh, remember that money that was Steam Star? I don't need it now. And even if I had it, I'll give it to you. Literally, there were scenes where she said that to her. It's not that far-fetched. I mean, the idea that she said it in the first place is far-fetched, but the idea that Jenny took what she said as face value is not far-fetched.
I just think that she's being very naive if she thinks that they're going to get away with it, and I do wonder how much down the real life...
You'd be in prison.
Yeah, but I mean, I'd be kind of up for seeing a story of Jenny going to prison. I think that it's as silly an idea as it is to make us believe that Jenny and Daisy could get away with this. Ultimately, like you said, what I want at the end of this is for Jenny to be the Rovers landlady. I don't want anyone else as the Rovers landlady yet.
Exactly.
I don't want it to be Carla, don't want it to be Daisy, don't want it to be Glenda, don't want it to be anybody. And there is still a chance of that happening. I've seen rumours, I've seen some spoilers, but not spoilers to do with that, but I've seen people's theories about it could be someone else, here's who else it could be in charge of the Rovers. And I'm worried about that. I just really, really want it to be Jenny. So with that in mind, I'm kind of almost willing to accept any storyline convoluted suspension of disbelief kind of methods that they'll get us there, but it doesn't really sit right with me. But anyway, the thing that I think is quite clever is having Daisy as co-owner, because if that doesn't lead to some kind of almighty stepmother stepdaughter fallout within the next 2 months, 3 months, I'm gonna be shocked.
I don't know where they're going with this, but if there's a lot of, I mean, I hear from people who have complicated relationships with their mums, women who have like daughters and mums. I've never had that with my mum. She's great. I think she's one of the best women I know. I've never had this weird relationship that loads of women seem to think is part of the essential female experience. But if they want to go down that route, Jenny and Daisy are the perfect two people to do it with. Like, wisdom, age, experience, beauty, kind of ambition and fearlessness. Those two things going up against each other would be amazing, don't you think?
Yeah.
Like Daisy thinks, and both of them have got reason to believe that they're right, because Jenny's got all these years of experience running the pub, and Daisy's going to say, well, you failed, you screwed it up.
Daisy's already saying, well, I've got the voice of youth. Yeah. I know what people want these days.
She's rightfully saying, I'm the one who's got the money. If it wasn't for me, we wouldn't have the pub at all.
Yeah, yeah.
This is setting up really, really fascinating conflict between two of my favourite characters, and I think there's so much. It's an archetypal, mother-daughter conflict, and it's also two massive characters. Everything's set up for this to be great. So
I just wonder whether Daisy's gonna set her sailing up the river at one point. I think that she's going to get Jenny over a barrel. I think she's going to turn on her. Jenny at the moment thinks that everything's great. Me and Daisy, we're going to take on the world. We're going to somehow overcome the financial problems and the lack of custom that the Rovers has been having for the last few years, and everything's going to be hunky-dory. But Daisy is going to totally screw her over, and Jenny's not going to be able to do anything about it, because otherwise she's going to be the one that goes to prison, because Jenny's the one who's going to be signing on the dotted line, isn't she?
Don't know.
Is it? I can't remember whether they said officially it would be hers and Daisy's. I can't remember, but whatever. I can totally see Daisy screwing Jenny over at some point, because she can be a nasty piece of work, and she can be manipulative and sly and out for number one.
As soon as they have an argument about what colour the new
upholstery should be on the seats,
cushions in the back room are going to be, they'll have a fight.
Yeah.
Because it's not Jenny's call anymore.
Well,
and the
it's
way
half
of things, no, exactly. The way of things is, and it's also a rite of passage story too, don't you think?
What do you mean?
Like, well, when you're a child, what your parents say goes. They you don't really have a choice. You have to do what they say. And Jenny and Daisy have had that parent-child relationship, and it transformed into employee-boss relationship, whereby Jenny would say, right, you're on the rota here, you're doing this, you're doing that, clean this, empty that, order this, serve them. But now she's not in charge, and it's just like a parent and a child, where the parent has to acknowledge that the child leaves home, and now you can't say, do this, do that, and there are so many conflicts that are born out of a parent trying to establish dominance over a child when they've flown the nest. And this is what is symbolic, isn't it? Jenny can say what she wants, but Daisy doesn't have to listen to her anymore.
Jenny's name will still be over the door, and I think Jenny's going to use that against her.
Yeah, but exactly, that's the point. That's why it's interesting. That's why it's different from, sorry, I know what you think is going to happen, but I'm not going to live in, I'm not going to live in Birmingham. I'm going to move to Coventry. You don't get to tell me whether I buy a masonette or a flat. You don't get to tell me whether I have to buy a 2-piece or a 1-piece sofa. I'm going to do my own things and make my own mistakes. And the other thing is that in a parent-child relationship, you could say, yeah, whatever, go and move to Coventry, I don't care. Whereas this is like, well, you can't just do what you want because it involves me too. You can't decide unilaterally what to do with the pub because I'm also involved in this. So they don't have the freedom. There's no freedom for Daisy because she's still hooked into Jenny. I think this is really fast. I hope that they do lots of really fun stuff with this.
I
'cause
hope
there's
that
so
they have
much
lots and lots
potential.
of Rovers scenes. I'm
Because
looking forward
listen,
to...
do you know what I mean when I say that in Coronation Street, I don't think there are that many stories where a child flies the nest and can do what they want and there's a conflict, because they all just move back in and live with their parents.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I know what you mean. I'm looking forward to seeing what the dynamics are between like Glenda and Sean and Daisy. Now Daisy will be
Yes,
the boss.
This has just opened so many avenues.
I can certainly see Daisy and Jenny arguing, and then Glenda and Sean being
Going,
like,
who do
"Ooh."
I... This is why I literally don't care about the fact that this is illegal. This is the least interesting aspect of the story. I don't want to hear anything about it. I want it to just go away. Let's pretend this never happened, because to me, them worrying about stealing the money from Stephen and what's going to happen and going to prison, whatever, that's not even the most interesting aspect. The Daisy and Jenny dynamic, mother-daughter.
I don't know. I don't
Right.
know how long a prison sentence would be, because I think, like I said earlier,
keep bringing it back to the thing that's
I
not
would not be adverse to having Jenny goes to prison if we have a Jenny in prison story. I don't want to have, let the character have a break for however many years it'd be. I'd quite like to see her get behind bars and get out to some adventures in there, but not if it means a long time.
Fine, if they've exhausted all the stuff I've already said that I would find interesting.
The problem is with it all, it almost is a bit like putting a ticking time bomb on Jenny's reign as landlady, don't you think? It's always going to be there, hovering over her tenure as landlady.
No, but listen, I've just explained how they can get away with it not being illegal.
But it is a bit.
It is illegal, but I can see how they get away with it. It's so easy and simple. The only person who knows about it and can get them in trouble would be Carla. Because it's Carla's money. She's the only one who cares now. If Audrey cared, she wouldn't have thrown the diary away. Everyone else thinks the money's gone. It's not their money anyway. If the money got recovered, the only person it would go to is Carla.
Well,
Therefore, once the police have washed their hands of it and Audrey's thrown it away, the only person who would care is Carla. And if Jenny and Daisy can convince Carla to not go to the police about it, they've got away with it. So you don't need to worry about them going to prison.
Well, let's just hope
What a
that...
boring way to end that story.
Let's not think about it too hard and just hope that within weeks or maybe even days in the Coronation Street timeline, we will have Jenny rightfully sitting on a little stool at the back of the Rovers. But I am kind of interested to see whether there's any other little surprise bidders there. Otherwise, they wouldn't have gone for this closed bid thing.
A scene where Daisy insists that she gets a bigger stool as Jenny does, then I don't know what the point of this whole thing was.
Right, speaking of Carla, Gemma, let's look at the Peter story. So I'm going to pass over to you to do a bit of a synopsis of this if you're ready.
Yeah, of course I am.
Okay.
On Monday, it's a busy morning at Heron Flat headquarters. Carla's going to work. Tim finds Peter on Martin's bench in Victoria Gardens and sees he's looking a bit down and wants to know if he wants to talk. And Tim decides that they should go and sit in the hot tub. And they sit there with some rubber duckies, don't they?
They do, yeah.
Tim tells Peter he's had a flashback about Stephen, but he's going to move on. So we don't need to worry about him having PTSD or
No.
scenes again. It's
Yeah.
all fine.
Peter, I kind of have felt that Peter's depression or whatever you would call what he's going through at the moment has kind of sprung out of nowhere a little bit. We haven't seen a
That
whole lot
doesn't
of
make
Peter
sense.
over the last few weeks, and it kind
That
of
doesn't make
comes a bit.
sense.
Why?
Didn't spring out of nowhere. He ran a man over.
Yeah, but he's been very philosophical about it suddenly out of nowhere. I'm
Well, that's
I'm
not what you
thinking.
just said.
No, that's what I meant. And no, it was quite a nice little
I'm
scene
getting
with
confused about what you mean. You said his depression came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And then you said it's gone away.
him. No. Oh, I don't. No. I do. No. He has been away. He's not been in the program for a few weeks, and all of a sudden now he wants to leave. And I know we've seen him looking at like the travel agents and wanting to go on the boat and stuff, but
This makes perfect sense to me.
I don't know. Okay. Well,
Just the same way. Who is it? You're in danger. I'm just telling you.
why?
Because who was it that's getting itchy pants?
I don't know.
Oh, Sarah's Daisy saying, "Oh, Daniel, you don't pay attention to me." Sarah saying, "Oh, Adam, you don't pay attention to me." Peter saying, "Oh, Carla, I'm bored of my life. I want something new." All these are warning signs, Michael. This is me. I totally see what Peter's saying. He's having a midlife crisis. Honestly, he's fed up with what he's doing. He can't see the point of it. He's stuck in a meaningless existence. He's not doing anything with his life. He wants to do something different.
I thought as the week went on, he explained it better. Like in today's AA meeting scenes and the ones after that, I got to understand what he was feeling a little bit more. But it felt like on Monday they jumped in there a little bit too quickly.
I think this is the thing about soaps, is that they tell you. I think if you're in the same place as a character, you don't need it to be explained to you. But if you don't get it, even all the explaining in the world can't often really get you in the same headspace.
Okay.
I mean, he wants to come back to the south. He wants to go back to Portsmouth because they're beautiful. Spinnaker Tower. I can see why.
Continue.
It looks like Dubai.
So they're having a lovely hot tub scene, aren't they? And Tim says, if Peter gives up now, then Stephen wins.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that is right.
He's saying, I don't think I can carry on living here. I've reached the end of the road with me and Carla. All she cares about is the business. She doesn't care about me. And then later on, Peter hides a letter from the hospital.
Yeah.
Carla comes in.
Yeah, he's got his mysterious
You've written
letter.
from the general. I'm like, what general? What from the Navy?
Yeah.
They're about to start dinner. Carla gets a call from the underworld because the alarm's going off, and that was weird. That doesn't mean anything. Yeah, it was just weird.
What was causing the underworld alarm to go off? I don't think we got an answer to
Stephen's
that.
ghost. So Peter's again looking at Mediterranean getaways with Simon. So much of this could have been solved if Carla just agreed to go on a Christmas cruise with Peter. I think it would have been fine. He says, "Everything I love is here, but I'm happy to know the option's open if I ever want to get away in the future." But it's not. Is he satisfied? Don't know. On Wednesday, Carla asks Peter, "Do you want to come for lunch at the bistro? I've got a meeting that's really important. I want to celebrate or commiserate with you." And he says, "Oh, I can't. I've got a meeting. I've got to go see my dad." But when she comes home unexpectedly, he's acting shifty and tidying up, and she kind of catches him in it. And says, "Look, okay, I admit, I'm not having a lunch with my dad. I've been in contact with my donor nurse, and I asked to meet with the donor's family."
Yeah, so this was the letter, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I've been worrying about my sobriety. I don't know what the point of me being alive is. And so I'm kind of hoping that if I meet the family of the person who gave me this second chance, it might give me a reason to carry on. So he meets up with this woman who's the mother of the person who donated their kidney, and it's Val. And it never brings up the fact that this is his mum's name.
I don't think he did, but I mentioned it to you, didn't I,
Yeah.
while we were watching. I think that it was quite a nice touch.
And I don't know how old Val was when she died, but I wouldn't be surprised if she wasn't around the same age.
I think she was a bit younger, but it doesn't really matter. But
Well.
so basically, this is one Val who has a son who gives his liver to the son of another Val, and I thought that it was quite touching in a way.
So she's Carla's found out that she's gonna come round, and she's decided to stay, and that's why she sends Sarah off to the very important future of the business meeting instead of herself.
Right.
So they meet up with Val, and Val tells them about her son who died when he was 32. I think it was a car crash, but I'm not sure. And he was a great guy, and Peter just starts crying. And she asks him why, and he says, "I feel like a fraud because the only reason I needed this liver was because I'm an alcoholic." And he had, I've taken a chance from somebody, and he had everything going for him, and I'm, I don't really feel like I deserve it. And Val, I felt like this was a bit, feels like a fictional thing. Like Val was immediately going, "Well, alcoholism is a disease, and anyone who thinks otherwise needs a crash course in compassion."
It was a little schmaltzy.
It was
but I think it was just what the story needed. It's just what Peter needed. Val was absolutely lovely lady. And
okay, this wouldn't feel like such a lecture if it hadn't been for the fact that, was it the week before or the week before that, we had the Baileys lecturing us about how gambling is a disease. Like, everything's a disease and it's nobody's fault. Everything you do is out of your hands. And I do definitely subscribe to that idea that addiction is not within your complete control. But having two groups of characters, like, saying it on television in the same month just felt...
Oh, no, that didn't,
really...
it didn't bother me whatsoever. I was just really enjoying it. I thought Val was lovely, and I
thought Val was very understanding.
I wanted her to be in it longer than she was.
I'm surprised that she must have prepared herself, I guess, mentally. I felt we needed more time with Val, because if she had said something like, I know my son donated a liver, and so I was prepared for the person who it was donated to have had alcoholism. So I've thought to myself about how I would feel if that were to be the case, and I cannot be sad about it, because no matter what happens, I'm just happy that you had another chance and don't waste it. And that would have been the same thing. That would have given you the same end result as having this very heavy-handed, alcoholism is a disease and I think I'm compassionate.
That's funny,
like,
I didn't.
Why would you say that as the mother of the person who sacrificed their life? It just didn't really make sense that she felt like she was just there to validate Peter Barlow, and that's not really fair.
It didn't bother me whatsoever.
Okay.
I would have liked to have seen an awful lot more. Even like the scene where she came in and she was like, "Can I give you a hug?" I thought was
that
lovely.
was sweet.
And Carla was there in the background going, "Oh, so sweet."
I said to you, she bought a stethoscope, and I thought, that's not really for livers though, is it? That's more for hearts. You can't really hear a liver working. No. So yeah, she was very sweet, and she's not around for very long. She leaves, and Carla tells Peter that she's really proud of him, and he starts saying, do you remember when we were going in for my first transplant, which I don't think happened, and we were talking in the waiting room about all the things we were going to do, and we haven't done any of them. All the things we were going to do if I had a second chance at life. We were going to travel, we were going to go walking in the Dales, we were going to do this and that. And then Carla looks at him and says, we can still go walking in the Dales. And that point, I think, is when Peter realises that he wants more out of life than Carla is prepared to give him.
It's interesting though, because Carla has been around the world before, hasn't she? She went
already
off to LA before, but maybe that's the point.
It feels like Carla's done it. Yeah,
she's
Carla's got hung up her walking boots. She doesn't want to go travelling the world. They want different things. Then she says, she's going, here, hang on, Peter, just hold my shovel for a minute. I'm going to use my hands to dig this hole. She gives him a postcard from his mate who's on this cruise around the Mediterranean going, by the way, if you still want to leave your life behind you and come on a cruise with me, the offer's still open. She can read this postcard with her own eyes. Her husband has just said to her, I feel like I'm wasting my life. I want to travel. And she says, let's just go for a walk. Here's a postcard that's basically a one-way ticket to get out of this dump. Here you go. It's for you. On Friday, it's breakfast time. Ken wants a dry Christmas this year. And Peter says, well, you don't all have to just jump on the wagon with me. And Carla says, oh, I just want to support you. And then presumably pours red wine on her cornflakes, because Christmas Day's the only day she's not going to drink.
Carla's not an alcoholic, is she? Oh, wait. She was at one point. She's got over that. See, this is all Peter needs the willpower that Carla's got to just not be an alcoholic anymore.
AA is not for everybody. Not everyone is the same. But yeah, it doesn't make a whole lick of sense. So he's got to go to this family AA meeting, and he asks her to come. So they have it at the community centre, obviously. And Peter tells everybody about their plans for Christmas, and he says, as long as I'm with the people that matter, that's all I need.
Yeah,
he's convincing himself.
Yeah, he's putting on a massive front here, but Carla can tell straight
She's
away
like,
that
what,
there's
are you sure?
something getting at him.
I feel like you're holding something back. And this is awkward because they're doing this in front of everybody at this meeting, but I guess it's a safe space for her to ask him. And he's like, no, it's all fine. And then he says, I feel like I'm empty.
He eventually can't hide it anymore.
Lights going out. I don't know what to do. I've got Val's son's kidney or liver. I don't know what am I doing with this? What is this giving me the opportunity to do? Nothing. I feel like I'm plodding through life. But maybe I just feel sorry for myself. Maybe I need to pull my socks up. And Carla just looks sick because
That was a very nicely written speech.
Yeah.
I thought that at that point, that was when I starting to get, okay, this is why Peter's feeling this way.
Carla takes Peter to one side and he talks about, look, I haven't even lived the life I kind of screwed up, let alone this new life that I've been given. I'm sorry for what I'm saying, but you asked me to be honest. And Carla doesn't even know what to say. She's really insecure when they're back at home later, and she says, were you ever happy with me? Are you leaving me? And he says, no, I if I don't sort myself out, you'll want to leave me. I don't know who I am. And Carla's crying, isn't it enough I love you? Aren't I enough for you? And he says, look, I wish it was that simple. And she says, we'll fix it together. And then she gets a phone call from Rob. Rob, her brother in prison. He just wants a comforting word from his sister in the festive time when he's probably feeling lonely. She's like, oh, fuck, it's got Rob again. Put my phone, I'm not answering him. I ain't got time for that. Simon comes in and he's got post. And this is really sweet. We love this, didn't we?
Yes, this is a nice tug at the heartstrings of the long-term fans little moment here.
He's got a very elaborately wrapped and gifted, I think it's Rowan Atkinson that put this together. It's a massive box with the tiny photo album in it that Ken is, it's for Ken for Christmas
Peter.
From Peter. And it's got Frank and Ida on the first page, R.I.P. and loads of other really cool Barlow family shots, and it was really nice to see. There was they had the camera over their hands. Hopefully that's a prop that they're going to display.
Yeah,
some pictures.
The thing is, Ken's already got quite a lot of old family photos. Is he going to look at this and go, just another one for the pile?
He's going for it, going, oh, you've got Deirdre pitching a trifle at the wall. Oh, that's a rare one.
Got a little shiny one here. This is got one of my second wife here.
Got one of Tracy's old heads. So that was very sweet. Sarah finds Carla in the flat later and she tells him about Peter's confession early in the day, and she's decided that she's going to get him something different this year. And she's printing something out, and Sarah sees what she's printing out. She says, Are you sure this is what you want?
Yeah, little cliffhanger, an unusual cliffhanger. They don't do that kind of thing on Corrie very much. I was perfectly expecting for it to reveal, here's what it is, and then we were left thinking, oh my gosh, it's such and such. But now we're left in a position where it's a kind of guess
I
situation.
really can't say what I think this is because there are spoilers and then they're not very long in the future, but it's not fair to talk about them.
But you don't know what it is, do you?
No, but I think I've got a theory.
Well, straight away I just assumed it was the Rovers.
Yeah, you did, didn't you?
Yeah, I didn't. I mean,
but why would you buy a pub for a man who's
run it before?
Yeah, when he was an alcoholic.
Yeah.
He hasn't run it since he's had a new liver.
No, I don't know. I don't know what she thinks he wants, but and maybe it wouldn't make sense necessarily, but apart from to have Jenny versus Carla.
I know,
but I don't think Carla can afford the pub at the moment, can she? She's the business is supposed she doesn't have
robbed of £250,000.
Yeah. So I
know too much about very important pivotal things that will happen to be able to say anything, and even me saying that as a spoiler, but I apologise.
At least we can say that it was a nicely placed cliffhanger at the end of the episode, I suppose.
I mean, I guess if you're
it's going to be the next episode that we find out, isn't it?
If you're guessing without knowing, you would think, has she got him like a boat, or is it a trip, like are they going away for a month or something, like she's compromising and saying, let's just go away for a month and get your itchy pants cleaned or whatever.
I wonder whether she would like.
She bought him a boat once before, and that didn't turn out so well. But just keep Abby away from it. Is all I'm saying. If she's
worried about him disappearing off, maybe she's doing the opposite and saying, "Do you want another share of the factory?" And she's going to give him part of Underworld. Maybe
she's printing out an adoption papers for him to adopt
Ryan.
Ryan.
That's no. It's alright. He's in Glasgow. It's like when you adopt a panda in Glasgow Zoo or is it Edinburgh Zoo. You don't have to actually live with them. They've got rid of them. I know.
Maybe she's adopting Simon.
Oh my god.
She's like, look, I'm not actually legally doing this, but it's just it's just a bit of fun.
I think whatever it is, I don't think he's gonna.
Maybe she's adopting. Well. Maybe she's sponsoring Maxine's bench for the next 20 years for him.
I don't know.
I want to just dunk on Carla a bit here. I'm so mad at her.
Why?
Not that long ago, she made a really sexist comment, and we don't need women to be sexist. We already have enough of that. But Carla's one of the worst on the show for casual misogyny. She already told, was it Beth, that period pain is a made-up thing you tell male bosses to get out of work.
It's something along those lines.
Not true. Absolutely, astoundingly ignorant. Today she said that maybe Peter is experiencing the male menopause. I was so annoyed at her. The male menopause is not real. Men definitely do have midlife crisis. They have health issues that affect them. There are definitely biological things that are specific to male bodies that they experience during middle age that might cause them to be depressed or have issues with their health. But invoking the word menopause to describe it is the most ignorant and offensive thing I can think of, and I can only hope that she doesn't experience any of the horrible things that menopause drops on women's heads. Have we not been educated over the past 2 years about how awful it is for women to go through it? It's a very real biological thing. It affects every aspect of your life if you're a woman, your mental state and your physical state. And to have her just say, like, wanting to travel the world as male menopause, I just wanted to kick her in the face. I know that's really violent and rude of me, but I'm just so sick of people not taking women seriously. And this is now the second time that she's done it. In like 6 months. It really makes me cross. I know that there are some women who are so blessed to not have problems with their health that are due to their female bodies, but can you please respect the experience of women who have difficulties in that realm? Is that too much to ask?
Request
Carla's
noted.
Such a mean girl, isn't she? She's such a mean girl. She's like the sort of girl at school where if you had a period pain, she'd be like, well, I don't have period pain. What's wrong with you? I don't have anything wrong with me. Oh, you must be a terrible girl.
Well, no wonder you're on Jenny's side over the post.
I knew girls like this at school. They didn't have any sympathy for girls that had period pains. And it can be awful. I've got a friend who literally cannot do anything for like 2 days out of the month because she's so sick. And I've got other friends who have never had period pains in their life and they cannot sympathise with her whatsoever, and it makes me so cross. Believe women. Carla, bitch.
Anyway, back on track.
I'm just so mad. I just cannot. I hope somebody slaps
I'm looking
her.
forward to seeing more Carla and Peter heart-to-hearts next week.
Do you think we'll get one?
I think we may well get one next
right.
week.
Ed Gamble.
Coming.
Before you say too much, Ed Gamble.
Ed's storyline. Okay, then. So basically, the beginning of the week was much like everything else we've had so far in this story for the past couple of months, which was Ed not having any money and people wanting him to buy things or just lend them money.
'Tis the time of year for it.
But it certainly picked up the pace on Friday. So Sarge is offering to pay for some of the Christmas turkey because, he's been crashing there at the Baileys for the best part of a month now. And Michael says, no, don't worry, Grandad, you don't need to pay for any of our turkey. Dad's going to go and get the turkey, isn't he? And then he kind of slips Ed £50 to go and get it.
Can I give you an aside?
You can pay me back when the cards stop playing up, which is Ed's current excuse.
Here's my tip, because I'm a nice cooker.
Yes.
Michael said, that's official.
Right.
Don't spend 50, 100, whatever pounds on a turkey. Instead, buy yourself the following pieces of equipment: a thermometer, a pair of turkey shears, and a nice big proper roasting pan. Buy your turkey, the cheapest one you can get, frozen one, don't matter where it's from, 20, 25 quid. Get it from Lidl, get it from Aldi, get it from Tesco's, get it from wherever. Then you defrost it on time and you cut down the with your shears, your poultry shears, you cut out the backbone and you spatchcock it. All you have to do is cut the backbone out and flatten it. Then you put your thermometer in, 165 degrees Fahrenheit, in the breast, cook it like that. You're going to get great turkey. You don't have to spend hundreds of pounds on it. You
Cooking
literally
tips
don't.
from Gemma there.
You
Let
literally
us know
don't
if you
need.
try this
I've
out this year and it works.
never spent more than 30 quid on a turkey, and it's always tasted great. I've never had a dry turkey that I've made myself.
Well, aren't you great?
I'm a nice cooker.
Ed's trying to negotiate on a gamble he's lost again later over the phone, but he has to put the phone down quickly when Sarge comes in, and Sarge is still insisting that he contributes to Christmas and forces £75 into Ed's hands, and Ed's like, oh well, if you're gonna make me have money, I suppose I better take
You
it.
can buy like 6 turkeys with the amount of money he's been given.
And what does Ed do as soon as he gets money? Well, he bets it on a horse or a dog or a something.
Dolphin.
Flea fight.
I would.
He comes in second.
Here's a suggestion for a new type of gambling: red versus black ants.
There we go. Maybe that's what it was. And didn't work. He's lost his money again. But he says that he's bought a turkey. I think I don't remember. It's all boring. It's dull stuff until Friday. We find out on Wednesday the not unexpected news that Aggie will not be there for Christmas. But this is a good excuse for Ed to hide why he's a bit down in the dumps for the rest of the week at least. So Sarge starts needling Ed about the money that he promised him, this big old investment for his food stall, is it, over in, where was it that you said that he said that he was?
Guyana. I said that before.
Yeah,
You
no, I
didn't believe
forgot.
me.
Any chance, Ed? I know you said that I'd get it when I went back home, but can I get it a bit earlier? And Ed's trying to say, look, I haven't really got my company's been getting a few unexpected bills recently. I've had to pay out my own pocket, and but you can have it as soon as the payments start coming in, I swear. Then he kind of spends the rest of the episode trying to get some people to hire him to do some building work or whatever, and then there's a guy on the end of the phone that's just dilly-dallying over the whole thing. But then, fortunately for Ed, he bumps into Paul, who's finally had his grant come through, and he's dropped the money round, or Billy's gone and dropped the money round at number 3, so Ed's like, hallelujah, I got the money come through, now I can pay back that nasty Tony bloke that's been surprisingly quiet recently. Let's hope it stays that way. So he gets home, but sadly, Sarge has already intercepted it and said, oh, that's fantastic. You said that I could have the money. I've taken it. You don't mind if I take it, do you, Ed? And Ed's like, oh, no, I don't mind, Dad. I did say you could have it after all.
Ed's got a gambling problem, but he also has a problem with his vocabulary. And it's such a short word he needs to learn. Only has 2 letters. But if he only learned the word no, how much of this could have been avoided? No, Dad, you can't have that. No, evil man, you can't have my family's Christmas presents. No, Ronnie, I'm not going halves on this bistro food. No, I'm not giving Michael £1,000. No, I'm not giving my dad £1,000. No.
He's got a problem, Gemma. It's an
Aggie,
addiction.
You're staying with Auntie Corona for Christmas? No, you're not. You're coming home. What's that? You want a Wendy house?
Sarge.
No, you can't have a Wendy house. Michael, you want to live with me? No, you
Sarge
can't.
has got his money.
Joel wants to come for Christmas? No,
All
he
right,
can't. He's boring.
I get it. Well, he can't say no. He's just a nice guy, isn't he?
Not like me.
He just wants. You're lovely. You're a nice cook.
I'm a nasty woman, but
You're lovely
nice
in every
cook.
way. You're lovely in every way.
No, I'm not.
And the Baileys decide to go to the bistro to cheer up Ed because of Aggie being away.
Is this where they have their party?
Yeah, they're having a little party, which is
3
just
men
having
drinking
a drink together in the
which
bistro.
is just the national pastime.
Well, unbeknownst to them, Nasty Tony, the bath hoist man from last month, is watching from the side.
He's a bath hoist man and a present heist man.
Yeah, and he says he goes over to Ed and says, "Give me my money," and Ed's like, "I ain't got any money." And the guy's here, "Well, you're buying everyone drinks. What's going on? I want my cash tomorrow or else. I need to buy my Christmas presents, you know." So back at home later, Ed tries calling this man he was on the phone to earlier. And it seems like Ed's willing to take a very low price for this, but the guy still can't decide, and Ed snaps at him and gets the phone put down on him, and he is back to where he started again. So, Friday's episode, that's where it all kicks off. Dee Dee says come late last minute Christmas shopping with me, Dad. No, it's fine. I've got other stuff to do. Michael says, come visit Santa with Glory with me. No,
Suddenly
no,
he
I
knows
can't
the
do
word
that.
no.
Yeah, he knows no to that. And Dee Dee puts all this down to Aggie not being there, and he says, no, I'm fine.
No.
So Ed gets a text from Tony later saying the clock's ticking. Except he didn't put the apostrophe in right, so shocking
So it's
stuff.
meaningless.
And Ed's mega distracted from this, which Ronnie notices, and he's sort of saying, what's going on your phone? Ed shoots off saying, I need to go and get the turkey. But actually what he's going to do is a flip from Weatherfield. He's decided that he's going to go down to Birmingham to see Aggie, but before he can get out the door, Tony's there saying, you're going nowhere, mate. Gets all into an argy-bargy with him. Before you know it, Ed's been punched to the ground by Tony, who just really, really wants his money back. And Ed's like, I swear I haven't got any money. Tony says, well, what about all those presents under the tree then, eh? You heard of that pawn shop in the precinct? Get them in a bin bag. Let's get down there. And Ed's like, please, no. I felt really...
This was the most ridiculously sinister, festive, evil thing that anyone's done since Scrooge.
You reckon?
Do you not think? Why would you say, right, it has to be the presents under the tree? When you say, look, have you got anything else that might be more easy to get rid of?
What about your lovely 3 flying birds pictures on the wall?
3 hummingbirds,
the
hook 'em
piano
off.
here.
Yeah, just let's wheel the piano down the road and get rid of that. I'm sure they had stuff in the house they could have sold quicker than a bunch of... and honestly, why are the Baileys buying each other that great presents? I'm telling you, Michael... If they took all the gifts I've bought you down the pawn shop, you get £15.55.
Well, there's a Wendy house among this, and that's
the
jewel in the crown.
I've got a Wendy house.
My Wendy house.
It looks just like the front of this house.
It's got a number 3 on the front, but Tony's got a heart of stone.
I'm mad about this because I wanted to see what the hell he was going to do with the Wendy house.
I
think he was happy to let Tony take it because he knew it was impractical to have a Wendy house in a back garden of a terraced house.
I wondered at one point whether Ed was going to sneak off and do a bit of camping on the Red Wreck in the Wendy house, because he was going out the back into the Ginnel, wasn't he, with the Wendy house box under.
With it.
And but Tony's there saying, right, get it in the car. Oh, that's a sad. That's an alternate version of history that we won't get to see.
Really disappointed with the Wendy house in the end because it fit into that little box.
Yeah, it can't have been much, could it?
It was literally.
I could think you could only fit about 2 walls of the Wendy house.
I'm going to tell you, I've had better boxes from Amazon arrive at my house than that look like.
Anyway, over at I think the bistro or the cafe, I can't remember, the rest of the Baileys are gathered saying, what can we do to cheer Ed up at Christmas? Let's buy him a lovely watch. So just to rub it in even more, the misery that Ed will soon be facing, they've bought him a really lovely present.
It says, it's funny how much the engraving they managed to get on that watch, because it said, to Ed Bailey, the greatest father any family could ever have hoped to wish for, on Christmas Day, wishing you the best happiness in the entire world, and thank you in advance for all the great presents that we're going to get today, and we really, really can't wait to enjoy the Wendy house with your only grandchild. Lots of love, the entire Bailey family, including Aggie, who wishes you lots of love from Birmingham.
Yeah, that's right, quite small to get all that on, didn't they?
So,
Ed gets home later and he looks sadly at the empty spot under the Christmas tree that he helped create there.
Jokes on them.
And when the family
couldn't do that at our house because we haven't even wrapped our presents yet.
We have not wrapped our presents yet. It's fine. We got ages till Christmas. And then the family come home and find Ed having a cry at the table, and they see that he's got this bloody nose and everything, and Michael's imagination gets the better of him, and it's like, oh, have we been robbed? And Ed's like, I didn't think of that. Oh yeah, did he? Oh yeah, Michael's the one that noticed the presents were missing. Dee Dee says, have you been robbed? And Ed was probably sitting there thinking for the half an hour, how on earth am I going to explain this away when that's kind of the fairly obvious.
Ed's like, I
was robbed. I left the back door open and everything, he says to Officer Craigie later, because Dee Dee's got the police involved.
He tries to say that it wouldn't work, and Craig is like, all of a sudden, somehow, Weatherfield Police Station has had an influx of funding for their forensic teams and their analysis. Oh yeah, he's going to get
the DNA
fibres,
down number 3,
fingerprints analysis. They're having dogs probably flown in to sniffer dogs. They're having identikits made up. They're having probably the probably bringing back Crime Watch for one episode only, try and track down. Normally they don't care. Normally they wouldn't even turn up.
Well, now that Stephen's dead, they're probably freed up to do a bit of
Swain's sitting there.
extra crime solving, just not any crimes of spiking, sadly, for Amy.
Swain's in the break room going, I'm so sick of Sudoku, I cannot do another one. I wish there was crimes. There's no more crimes anymore.
So anyway, that's all going to go on, but there's a final scene just where they're really, really rubbing it in.
Where's the turkey?
We find out that the turkey's not been bought after all this, so they haven't got anything to unwrap or anything to eat on Christmas Day. But Dee Dee says, don't worry, Dad, we've still got you, a brilliant present. And
that's
just
great.
Made to feel a million times worse for the whole thing.
What do you think they're going to eat on Christmas Day?
They'll probably go to Speed Dial, won't they? Get a free curry from Yasmin.
Yeah.
They'll probably... Do you think that they're going to end up having a happy Christmas in any kind of way? Or
they will do, but Ed won't be feeling it.
Yeah, they're going to try and jolly him on, aren't they? But that guilt's going to be eating away at him.
And they'll think it's just sad because he's let somebody steal the presents and he's sad his wife's not there. But really it's just sad because he's a terrible husband.
The thing is, I mean, I think they're going to get caught out. I'm thinking that someone may be taking a trip to that pawn shop at some time soon.
Literally, they're going to go to the pawn shop and go, that's weird. All of our presents are in the shop, in the precinct, right here in the window. And
apart from the Wendy house, which is made up on the street outside.
And I asked the guy and he said that you came in and dropped them off, but you were crying. So that's okay.
Yeah, it's not like the Corrie residents don't go to the precinct very often. They can't get them away from the place now.
And it's literally a personalised Wendy house.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Yeah, not particularly clever.
And here's the thing, right? Buy your family consumables like alcohol and food, so you can't pawn them off in a shop. Nobody is buying my parents bumper box of Christmas crackers that I've bought them and a box of cheese. You can't sell that at a pawn shop.
Very true. So I think it's not going to take long until he is found out. Should he have confessed? He was almost going to confess, wasn't he, in that final scene?
It just makes me so cross because, I mean, this is the point. This is the whole point, isn't it? This is why it's an interesting story. But it's the same as Sean's homelessness. If he just said to Dee Dee, I owe a guy some money, can you help me? He didn't even have to say he's gambling. He just says, look, the money's not coming in. He's got a reason for it. The money's not coming in. Your granddad took the money I was going to give to the man who put Paul's bath hoist in. There's no reason for any of this to... Because every time he gets
he's just really proud and ashamed of the fact that his gambling addiction still is what caused his family to have to downgrade from their big old house from before. And I think he's like the sole parent of the house now that Aggie's not around. He feels some responsibility over Michael, who still hasn't moved out.
Maybe we should have had some scenes of them sort of coming to him for something that they would have come to Aggie for.
Maybe. What, like a Marmite?
I want a recipe for Marmite and marmalade, a roulade.
Yeah, so I did feel bad for him, but is it his fault? Is he to blame? It's difficult. It's really, really difficult to go down the it's a disease route when he had plenty of opportunities to not gamble that money away.
But how can you say that about him but not Peter? Because it's the same thing. Peter's surrounded by people. I think to us it's invisible because it's not a problem for us. Alcohol feels like a bit more in your face because like you don't drink alcohol at all. No. But you can see like when you watch adverts, everyone's like, oh, drink responsibly. Oh, I love a Baileys at Christmas. Oh, buy your family this. Oh, look at all these club card vouchers. You can, buy gin cheaper, whatever. But there are also loads of betting adverts all the time. And once you get yourself in that world, they advertise, it's targeted advertising, and they find you and they put it in your face.
Yeah. And
there are betting shops everywhere that I don't even really look at them. But if you were betting, if you were a gambler, you would see those and they would be like, like a beacon calling you in, going, oh, don't worry about it. Come in here and turn your problems into an opportunity. That's what it is. That's what gambling is, isn't it? Your problem is an opportunity.
Yeah.
Give your money to us and we'll make you rich. That, to me, sounds like a very tempting And logically thinking, of course, the odds are against me. But you also know all these stories. Oh, do you remember that guy that won? He had his last pound and he bought a ticket and he got £1 million. Oh, did you hear that story about the man who was in a coma and then he got a ticket and he won the lottery and then they filmed him to recreate it for the news and he got it again. He got another jackpot. That's a real story that happened.
Mm. Yeah.
It doesn't help.
And one man traded his Nanjumbaji in for a motorbike.
Exactly.
That's kind of gambling, isn't it?
Wasn't it a paperclip?
Oh yeah, it just starts a paperclip. So there we go. That was the Baileys. I'm less nervous about Christmas Day's Coronation Street now. I still feel that the Christmas Day episode is just going to be over and gone before you know it. In a flash. A half an hour episode with the advert break in the middle. There's only so much that can happen on Christmas Day. I feel like
it's going to be like vignette, 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 vignette.
Yeah.
I really think that's what it's going to be. I think there's going to be quite a lot of characters in it. I think there's going to be a scene or two for each, and then we're going to be done.
Yeah,
and it's going to be highs, lows, lows.
There's going to be your Christmas music montage at the beginning. I think even though it's a half an hour episode and the end, so there's really only so much that can happen on the day.
Who's final character? First character final. First character Ed Bailey looking sad.
Yeah.
Final character Peter and Carla looking miserable.
Yeah, I think so. I think there's going to be misery bookending this week, this Christmas.
Just like the real Christmas.
I don't know whether anything positive can happen for any of the stories.
Oh no, there's going to be Platts and there's going to be Yasmin and Stu having Eliza, although she's going to cry because her dad's not there.
Oh yeah, but that's right, because wasn't it Christmas Eve that Dom was supposed to be coming back from
never got mentioned.
Germany? But no, that didn't get mentioned at all. But I don't think there would have been time for them this evening, to be honest.
It was an hour long. They've only got half an hour on Christmas Day.
Yeah, oh, okay.
There's going to be dogs at number 9. There's going to be Roy.
Do you reckon?
There's going to be Roy and Evelyn having romance.
Oh yeah, with the new book. Yeah, there's not much that can actually happen plot-wise, because you're right, there's just going to
be like, these are the things we set up for you to happen. These are the things, this is your payoff. This is sweet, horrible, sweet, horrible, sweet, horrible.
Horrible, horrible, horrible.
The end.
Okay, right. That's number 9 then, Gemma.
Right, on Wednesday, there's no news about the puppy farm, but it transpires that Tyrone and the girls are going to Norwich for Christmas, so he won't be seeing them.
This is doing so well there. Despite all the...
Despite the fact the factory got robbed of £250,000, the Norwich branch is just ticking on. Nobody's told them.
She's a business genius, that Fizz.
She's like, I can sell knickers in Norwich, no problem, let me know. Evelyn's going to spend Christmas Day with Roy, but Cassie's got no plans, which seemed quite eccentric. So Tyrone makes Evelyn invite Cassie along, despite the fact that Cassie's saying, oh, who wants to spend Christmas with Roy? She accepts because she's got a plan. Roy's back goes out. He's serving Evelyn and Debbie in the cafe, and so Evelyn has to send him upstairs. And he eventually works his way downstairs with his dodgy back, and Evelyn tells Cassie to take him back upstairs, but when she does, because she's invited to Christmas Day, she tells him that her mum's really looking forward to spending Christmas with him. So she's playing Christmas Cupid, not the reindeer, the fictional angelic creature of...
Cherub.
of legend. And she's trying to get them together, isn't she? So she's saying, like, why don't you get... She's got you a great present. You should get her a present too. So back at home, Cassie's telling Evelyn that she has decided not to go to Christmas Day, so it'd just be her and Roy. And then when she tells Roy she's not coming, she's surprised that Mary's going to be there on Christmas Day. So she's going to be a bit of a Christmas gooseberry. But she's told Roy to buy Evelyn a book that Evelyn was reminiscing about, and I don't know what it is about, but it's some kind of
some kind of old lady
romance
book
thing. And so Roy's found a limited edition, first edition, £150, so they've got to go to the Peak District to buy it. So Abby tells Cassie that she should go with him. So they get into the car to drive off, but Roy's back's dodgy and the car won't start. So they go in someone else's car, but when they return it, Cassie puts the car in the garage and it's got a massive scratch on it.
Yeah, she's making out that it's a friend's car, but she's just nicked it from the garage, hasn't she?
It's someone else's car that's in for some kind of treatment.
Yeah.
And so she sees this scratch that she's put on there. So she gets the trolley of tools and she puts it next to it to make it look like they've just kind of scraped into the side of the car, so it's not her fault. And then she runs back into the road and she meets up with Abby and she feels guilty that she's kind of stitching up the garage folk. And
Abby's just saying, isn't Christmas wonderful? Aren't I a perfect wife now and I don't have any drug problems or anything?
It's great not being on drugs. In fact, we're going to the bistro
I liked Abby's Christmas get-up with her little Christmas cat ears and everything.
I really like those.
Yeah. So that was...
So Roy's getting Evelyn a first edition of a book that I don't expect she's that bothered about. But what is she going to get Roy?
I think trainee.
She's getting him a train. And then... Mary's going to be there, and is she going to pick up on vibes or not? I don't know.
Oh, I don't know. I don't need Mary to be there. She was in tonight's episode a bit, wasn't she, in the cabin scene? I think
it does feel really kind of obnoxious how many people are organising sort of community events for people that are sad, but not actually linking together. Because like Stuart and Yasmin are like, oh, let's just do Christmas Day in the restaurant for all the sad, lonely people, and then Evelyn and Roy are hooking up because they're sad and lonely, and then you got the Abby and Kevin go like, why don't they all just go together? I know that's like real life.
Do you think there's going to be any frisson of Christmas romance between Evelyn and Roy? They've been teasing it over the year.
I've never been one for it, really.
I've not minded so much.
I don't particularly want it to happen.
I don't think it will. I think that they might have a bit of a hand touch, but that's probably about as far as it'll go.
Roy and Evelyn are Weatherfield's answer to Mulder and Scully. I'd rather they didn't get it on. It's more exciting to wonder what if.
Okay. Audrey, are we ready to move on? It feels like we're going through this at a bit of a breakneck pace today, which, considering it's the run-up to Christmas...
That's fine.
I'd like there to be more to talk about. I mean, the Rovers story...
No, hang on. The reason why this is not a lot of discussion is because there's not issues. I honestly think that issues, storylines are the ones that take up. It's because I waffle on about it.
There are issues, but there's also like drama and intrigue and excitement and what's going to happen-ness, which we got with the Rovers story.
Yeah.
But it feels, I don't know, with the others, it's just like, it's just kind of nice what's going on or boring.
Yeah, but we're hampered somewhat by knowing how some of these are going to play out.
That's definitely a huge problem this week.
There are two major stories.
There are far too many big spoilers that are out there.
What will happen, and I'm going to say to you listening that I only know massive spoilers for up till New Year's Eve, and then once it gets past that, I've got no clue what's going on. So we can go back to normal. But for the time being, I just feel like it's wrong of me to speculate.
I wish there was more to speculate about. It feels like there's very, very little mystery. The big mystery at the moment is I don't know whether the Rovers is that much of a mystery or whether it's completely all out there what's going to happen. But I honestly 100% don't know exactly what's happening with the Rovers there. But so I think that's just the main problem here. But also, everything that's going on, and I think this Audrey story is a good example of this. There's always the feeling that whatever ends up happening, things are just going to end up going back the way they were, in some way, Like, whatever happens with the Baileys, whether they find out about his gambling, whether they will, but they'll forgive him in the end. 6 months down the line, I imagine that the Baileys are going to look exactly the same as they were looking 6 months ago, I
agree with you.
And then this Audrey story, basically the story was David and Maria are deciding that one of them needs to be the main manager of this, so she interviews them both on Wednesday. Maria wants to be injecting things into people's faces. David wants to turn it into an offshoot of Trim Up North and make it a bit cooler and maybe have a motorbike round the back or something.
Audrey's like, I've a bit ahead.
Audrey doesn't like the idea of either of this, so she decides in the end that she's going to keep things
as they are.
Well, but she's still going to be in charge.
This confused me. Yeah.
She says, okay, Maria, you can have the back room for your newfangled treatments, and David, you can bring a bit of your trim up northness to here.
You can put Vin Diesel the Weasel on the
Well, he's in a skip,
reception.
he's gone now. But I'm still going to be the boss, and
it was back to normal again, like exactly like the babies will be in 6 months' time.
It is exactly back to, not that there's been a huge story of what's going to happen to the salon, but
I was baffled by this because they both came up to Audrey and said, here are ideas that you hate. And Audrey went, I hate these ideas. And then at the end she went, we can incorporate both of your ideas into the salon as it is.
Just don't go to town with it.
She said, does she really want people having their faces injected in the back room? I'm controversial, perhaps. Maybe not female solidarity, just like Carla. But I don't really need people walking around with fillers in Weatherfield.
There's already people walking around with fillers in Weatherfield, and we don't need to know where they get them done. Thank you very much.
Jobs and things, not my cup of tea.
I don't think we're going to see any of it. I know Audrey
No,
has said...
I think there will be. No, I think we will. I think we'll see one scene where Maria
Is someone going to get a
says,
trout pout gone wrong?
No, one scene where Maria says, I'm doing Botox on Mrs. What's-Her-Face, and we have a scene and we cut to Mrs. What's-Her-Face and she's like 89 years old and there's no way Botox would do anything. And then we'll have another scene where David's turning the seats into like tyres or something because it's manly. And that will be it.
Audrey did point out that the salon has only just had a renovation. And it was last summer, wasn't it? And we've barely seen inside it since then. So it is foolish to think that it's time for another one already.
But wasn't it Stephen that engineered that?
No, that was round when... I thought that was around the time that Audrey had a suicide attempt and then she decided to reopen it. And I think... maybe, I'm not sure. I can't remember.
Right. Well, anyway, I don't think much will change.
I
don't mind it, but, you know, what you've made a point here in your notes that we've still got Rita in the cab and we've still got Audrey in the salon. These women are stalwarts of the street. We love them so much, but at some point we're going to have to move on and we're going to need something new, and I'd rather that we did it with the grace and acknowledgement of these women in the show. I don't want us to go, Audrey's dead because of whatever reason. To move out of the salon. You know what I'm saying?
It's the Betty Williams thing, isn't it? I'm going to retire, I'm leaving, I'm coming back, and then she just disappeared from the show.
I mean, without knowing any of the background of this is not speaking from any insider knowledge at all. There's definitely feels like there's a pressure to sort of keep people working while they want to, and I definitely agree with that. That's really lovely, but at the same time, we have to make space for new things, and it feels like it kind of feels cruel. Like, why does Audrey have to work until she dies? Why does Rita have to keep Doll and Sweets out until she collapses? Can they not retire? Can they not? There really is no need. They don't need. This is the problem. Both these women are so established in the show. They've got families. They've got people that care about them. We don't need them working. They don't need to be in a set, doling stuff out or doing things for them to have a purpose in the show. No. Wouldn't it be lovely to normalise retiring and enjoying your life instead of working your fingers to the bone? Because yes, that is a very working class thing to do, to have to work until you die. But these women aren't working class. They're both sitting on hoards of money like dragons. They don't need to be doing all this work. Go on a cruise, girls. Go off together. You'd love it. I think they would.
Yeah, stop at the cart while on the way.
Peter can drive, yeah?
Yeah, it's like that. There was no salon in the first 30 years of Coronation Street, and I know Audrey hasn't had the salon since it opened. It was like Denise and Fiona after that. But
if you ask people now, they'd say that Audrey'd owned the salon for the entire...
Yeah, you would.
But she's been a hairdresser since the beginning.
And it was... as much as I really liked the Trim Up North set, it is feeling a bit pointless to have had it. And having two hair establishments on the street at once. I just think by now, David should own that salon, or it should be something else. And Rita, we're looking in the classic Corrie scenes at the moment from 2003. or 2004, I think they are now. Rita saying, I'm selling up, I'm not doing it anymore.
They've literally been doing it for 20 years.
Yeah. And at some point, it's just got to happen.
Yeah, but it's going to happen because they are not in the show.
And I know Brian's in charge of the cabin now, kind of, but Rita is still hanging around like a bad smell.
No one knows what Brian exists.
But this could have been a real chance to do something fresh and different and exciting with the salon, and they've just kept the status quo.
I just think there's more to a person's life than their job, and this does not help to... But then, you know, isn't that the antithesis of both of their... Like, both these women are dedicating their whole lives to their roles. Both of them have been on the show for decades now. And so, for them, their careers are super important.
Mm.
So, to say that Audrey and Rita should not have their jobs on the show and should enjoy their retirement is kind of the opposite of what the actual real-life actresses are doing. So, that's interesting.
Yeah.
But... I just feel like it would be lovely if they could just sit down.
It's got to happen at some point, and like you say, I'm just worried that they're not going to be able to be in the show anymore.
Maybe I'm feeling like this the same way I felt about the Queen, where the idea that you have to work till you die is just so depressing, and there's like the Queen, obviously, I know this is going to annoy people. The Queen felt a duty, and she thought she could never stop. She had to work until she died. There's no one else in the world that has to do this apart from the Pope. Like, you don't have to. It's okay. You can rest. Let's let Audrey and Rita rest.
Yeah. And just for change's sake.
And it's nice. It's nice to pass the baton on when you're still there to reap the rewards of what you've laid down, your wisdom and the lessons you've imparted and the training that you've given, and trusting the next generation to carry on as you would have hoped them to, not having to keep micromanaging everything and saying, oh, you can't do it because I have to be here. Just feels so exhausting. You'd hope that you could just sit down.
I suppose that the fact that they can't even populate the precinct at the moment makes me think, well, what would make me think that they could have a complete renovation on one of those other buildings? But the bistro has now been a bistro of sorts for, 15 years or so. The Rovers has been the same forever. I don't know, it's changed a little bit. The flower shop has been a flower shop for probably 10 years or so now. It's still Preston's Petals for no particular reason. The kebab shop hasn't changed for 20 years, it feels like. Streetcars is exactly the same as it's been for 20-25 years. Everything is just identical, and then you get new sets like the Undertakers, and suddenly that's not even there anymore. Speed Dial is the main new set that's had legs. I suppose
we can change things. It's okay. And Audrey and Rita can be in the show. They don't have to be in a job
or get a different job. I just fancy a change.
It does feel like it's overdue.
And they've now they've kicked this can further down the road because
they have.
It can't be.
They had a chance.
They can't say, in 2 months' time, we have actually decided to change the salon now.
It feels like we don't want to let go. It feels like we're scared. It feels like we need mummy. And we don't. We can do it us. Like it's.
Anyway,
and I totally agree with keeping them. I don't want anyone to think I think that they're past it or they shouldn't be in the show. I love them both. I love all of the older actors. We said before, we think that the older actors are underused. We want more diversity in ages. I think it's great that they've got a great diverse cast in terms of that. It just doesn't mean that everybody has to work in a shop or in a salon.
Let's just finish this off with the Mrs. Winter Brown's boys then, Gemma. What are those chaps been up to this week?
Not a lot really, it's just the little big shot stuff.
Yeah.
So Glenda's been working way behind the scenes, she don't need centre stage. She's been teaching these children how to sing. It's not stuck.
She's she's not even taught them how to stand right.
Oh,
sorry,
And these kids are stage kids, right? These kids are all here because their mums have taken them for auditions to be in Coronation Street, They surely have gone, they've done drama at school. They must have been better than the innkeeper during the nativity play. They were probably angels and Marys and Josephs, left, right, centre. And what do we end up with?
Lily just looked really awkward, doesn't she?
Lily was fuming.
She's a sportswoman, not an artist, isn't she?
Lily's fuming over the reaction to Mary Earps getting Sports Personality of the Year.
It should have been her.
Everyone's mad about it, and she's there going, women should be able to be Sports Personality of the Year without being questioned by men and being told they have to save 100 goals. So that's why she's mad. I can totally understand. Glenda, Gemma, David and Chesney are setting up the choir stall. They've decided to do it in Victoria Gardens. They know these kids aren't good. They want to reduce the amount of people that are going to be able to attend this event. So Chesney can't come.
I think Glenda's just hoping that if they do it outside, they'll be drowned out by traffic.
Yeah, she's like, we can time this. I've got the tram the tram timetable. I'm gonna just build it out when the tram arrives.
But also, as we saw from Joseph's encore rendition of it, after Paul comes in after his wheelchair breaks down, and Gemma, rather than just saying,
"Hang on, I think Paul
we're right outside our house. Can I just leave you here while I just nip to Victoria Gardens?" No, she's going to turn up late.
No, hang on, we're getting ahead of it. Go on, carry on.
Well, when Joseph says, "Okay, I'll sing it again," it's over and done within about 20 seconds, isn't it?
That's because Glenda's behind him going, cut. No, Paul, they're getting ready to do this.
All I'm saying is it's no Billy Mayhew bashing it out on the piano like we had a couple of years ago down Victoria Street.
They're getting ready to do this concert, and Paul knows they're rubbish, and he's like, "Oh no, my chair's broken down. I don't think I can make it." But Gemma won't.
Flat tire.
Gemma's been too busy. She's been separated from the children, so she hasn't heard Joseph rehearsing. So she pushes him down the road. They get to the concert. It's too late. Joseph's sad because they missed it. Glenda says they're doing encore. Joseph wants to go home.
Then Glenda says, "No, we're doing an encore." It's only 10 seconds long.
I think in order to keep her subs up for the new year, she should have just cut it off there. Mm-hmm. But she sings it again. Everyone's sad. Paul's crying. I'd cry too because he's never going to hear him get better.
That was quite touching. Paul's reaction.
I'm going to say Joseph gave it like 20%. This is why I'm okay with it, because I know that was not as good as this kid could do. The kid, he just sang it quickly like a kid would do. It wasn't like, King's Choir or anything. So
it's just really funny because, like I said, we did watch a lot of EastEnders today, and they had a really nice choir scene in EastEnders tonight, didn't they? It was that final shot, and they were singing the that one off Home Alone, I think it was. And then on Coronation Street, you got...
What were they even singing?
Oh, holy night.
I mean, this is coming from someone who can't sing. I in no way feel like...
You weren't going to march down there and say, "Out of the way, kids, let me show you how it's done."
I sympathise with people who can't sing.
Hanging all the stockings on the wall.
Yeah, it's fine if you can't sing. It's cool. Joseph can't sing.
At least... They didn't even have star singer Ruby there because she's up in Norwich. I don't
think we were supposed to think he was good at singing, but he just... Yeah, and they all go home.
Anyway, we've slagged off the children's choir plenty now.
It's fine. It was just a ditty. Like, it's cool. And Paul was...
I just left wondering how much are they charging at Little Big Shots to put on a show like that? Because if Gemma is worried about the financial troubles at the moment...
Cut that out.
Yeah, I'd say... It's not working. He's been in that, for 8-9 months now? He's been a member of Little Big Shots.
It's not working. I remember there was a scene in... Well, a bit in... Was it... What's the shows where they sing?
X Factor.
And...
Britain's Got Talent.
I can't remember which one it was, but Simon Cowell was a judge. I don't know
either.
Exactly. So a woman came out and she did a song and she was terrible. And Simon Cowell was like, "What the hell made you think you could sing?" And she said, "I've been taking singing lessons." And he said, "Bring your teacher out." And the teacher came out and he said, "You're robbing this woman blind. She can't sing to save her life." And that was the most devastating thing I've ever seen on television, because I was holding out on a dream that if I could somehow get lessons, I would be able to sing. Like, it's within my possibility. Not that I would ever do it, but it's possible. Like the same way as when I buy a lottery ticket, I could win the lottery and be a millionaire. If I had lessons, I could sing. But no, apparently it's impossible for me. There's no chance.
You haven't tried lessons, you never know.
I would not ever be able to sing. So I feel I'm with Josie.
Right.
And that's okay. We don't all have to be the star of the show.
That very cruel
it's just
put down of the
I
poor
hope nobody thinks that was
child.
cruel, because it
clearly wasn't great, was it?
I don't think it was supposed to be. If it was supposed to be good, they've messed up and they did it. It's on Coronation Street that they didn't get the performance that was worthy of the scene.
It's
not my fault.
It's like, what's it at the Rovers not Christmas, summer event, Mr. Glenn Young or whatever, all over again. Right. I thought, despite the fact that I've just been slagging that a bit off and I haven't had a whole lot to say about this week's Coronation Street, I will stand by the fact that I thought it was a pretty good week. All the Rovers drama, as ridiculously silly as it was still quite exciting, and I'm still thinking, I'm worried. I'm worried that things are going to go wrong for Daisy and Jenny, but also it does potentially springboard things off a big drama in the new year. Chris Gascoigne, always amazing. I thought that he had some really brilliant scenes, especially the stuff with Val. I thought that was lovely. And the Ed story, even though it was very, very slow for much of the week, I felt that Trevor, Michael George, did a super job on Friday. Just looking absolutely desperate and devastated with the horrible situation that he has brought upon his family.
Agreed.
I'm
giving this week
you're giving it
gold
4,
stars
right,
for Daisy. I really enjoyed it. I'm going to give Jenny character of the week because I enjoyed her machinations with Daisy and her I'm in an R over whether to be evil or not. But Daisy comes in a very close second because she was the real instigator.
I'm going to make Peter my character of the week this week, I think. Just for some of those brilliant heartfelt scenes, and the hot tub scene was great.
Job.
Everything with Val.
I'm sure lots of people enjoyed the hot tub scene.
Oh, bet they did. and what do you think of Tim's beard this week? Haven't even mentioned that. He's looking proper stubbly
really
this week, isn't he? Oh, well, I did. I am going to give this...
I'm really blind about people wearing glasses and people having beards.
It didn't feel like quite a 4. It didn't feel like quite a 4 for me. I'm going to give it 3.5 profiteroles lurking in the bottom of Carla's bag out of 5.
Delicious.
But close to a 4.
Who's your character? You've already
As I said, Peter.
Yeah. So there we go. That was the week that was.
Right.